Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, here to talk about something that's making quite the rounds in the PC gaming community, and that is Herman Hulst, who is soon to be the co-CEO of Sony's PlayStation side of business, addressing day one PC game release. I think a lot of this is what we expected. I think some of us were also optimistic that PlayStation's game plan would change. I really don't think it's the worst thing in the world what Hulst is saying, because you have to really look at the landscape of gaming in general right now, and I don't think getting day one titles on PC is that much of a big factor to the consumer. I think in actuality, it would impact the likelihood of new IPs popping off even more and doing even better, but Sony's got their game plan and they have their goal in mind, so let's go over it. As noted by Tom Warren, essentially he notes that live service games will come day and date on PlayStation 5 and PC. This includes games like Helldivers 2, Concord, Fair Game. All of those games are going to come to PlayStation 5 and PC. That is very obvious. We'll talk about that in a second. But I think when we look at PlayStation and we talk about PlayStation, what are the games that people really look at and really get excited for? The single-player narrative games. He notes single-player narrative games on PC are designed to then entice PC owners to buy sequels on a PlayStation console. So we've seen this before. Spider-Man Remastered came out in 2022 on PC, then Spider-Man 2 came out in 2023 on PlayStation 5. A PC release probably will happen at some point, maybe in 2025, 2026, somewhere around there, but I don't think it's gonna happen day and date for future PlayStation titles. And on paper, what Hulst says makes a lot of sense, because you guys have to remember, while I can look at the numbers that Ghost of Tsushima is pulling, I can look at the numbers that Spider-Man is pulling, and given the resources allocated to port a game to PC, sure, they acquired Nixxes, a great studio, one of the best studios in all of gaming right now. I will say that they are among my top 5 favorite studios in all of gaming. The work that they do cannot be appreciated enough given how many bad PC ports we get, but they make good revenue off of these games. And I look at the number, I'm like, wow, delayed game releases, and they're doing fairly well. However, these sales numbers ultimately are a relative drop in the bucket of what PlayStation in totality is trying to do. Yes, the PC gaming, maybe me saying drop in the bucket is putting it a little bit lightly, but it's a fraction of what their overall goal is. Their goal, still at the end of the day, is to get people into the PlayStation ecosystem. PlayStation itself is a service. The live service games, they come to PC because, as the title of those games would suggest, they in their own world are a service. Helldivers 2 is a service. Spider-Man 2 is not a service. It's a one-time sell, and that's it. Maybe you'll do some DLC, but that's it. Spider-Man 2, the idea of that game existing, sure, they want to sell a lot of copies, but ultimately, the better thing for them, for Spider-Man 2 to do, is sell more and more PlayStation 5s, because once they have you in that ecosystem, they start selling you PlayStation Plus subscriptions, they start selling you other games that they collect revenue from, they start selling you, subscriptions to other services that they collect from, they sell you stuff from the PlayStation Store, so on and so forth. So if they can convert one of these PC people into a PlayStation 5 consumer in the long term, that person, because PlayStation as a console as a service, is going to make them a lot more money as well. Live service games, again, them acting as their own service, Helldivers 2, the idea of that game's long-term success is having an engaged player base. That player base is only going to be as big as the amount of people you offer the game to, hence why the game is on PC. Maybe it should be on Xbox, but Xbox is, like, if Helldivers was on Xbox, it really wouldn't make that big of a difference. It would be beneficial, sure, but, PlayStation 5 and PC aren't direct competitors, whereas PlayStation and Xbox certainly are direct competitors. I would say this: how many people are really going to get converted from PC to buying a PlayStation 5 for one of these sequels? And if they do get converted, are they gonna be longtime PlayStation customers? No, I don't think so. Maybe they will. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but if, let's say, Homeboy buys God of War on PC back in January of 2022, loves the game, he's like, oh my god, God of War is awesome, buys a PlayStation 5 on launch of the God of War Ragnarok so he can play Ragnarok, Is all of a sudden he gonna drop PC, sign up for PlayStation Plus, and all of his game time is on PlayStation 5? Maybe a small percentage of people are gonna be like that, but I can tell you guys anecdotally, I got a buddy, I have several friends actually, that, you know, they've got disposable income at this point, and they have their gaming PC. Like, all my boys are PC gamers. I have very few friends that regularly play on consoles, but a lot of them did end up picking up a PS5. 3 of them in particular, I can say. And they all did it to play some of these single-player games, but they aren't long-term PlayStation customers. They're not signed up for PlayStation Plus, and they're not buying a bunch of games on PlayStation. They bought a couple games, and you know where they spend 99% of their gaming time? It's on PC. To the point that one of my buddies literally bought Final Fantasy 16. He played it on PlayStation 5 for a while, and then he was just like, dude, I hate playing this game on consoles. He just doesn't like console gaming, that he dropped the game midway, and he's just like, I'll wait for the game to come out on PC. Yes, Sony still made their money, and that dude is not going to be a long-term buyer, and I talked to him about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming out, and he was just like, yeah, I'm not making the same mistake twice. I'll just wait a while for it to come to PC. And the thing is, it's not like there's a shortage of video games. We've got so many games coming out that at this point, there are very few games that are gonna move the needle because the quality level is so immensely high on every platform from a third-party standpoint. Not to mention that PlayStation, their first-party output is weaker than ever. Sure, they'll get third-party deals and sign exclusives for like an FF7, a Stellar Blade, and a Rise of the Ronin, but anybody with a brain cell knows that Ronin's gonna come to PC. Anybody with a brain cell knows Stellar Blade's gonna come to PC. And then when you talk about directly their first-party output, when those games, Sony would have all the power. Y'all, Sony, y'all ain't putting out any games. Y'all ain't putting out a lot of games anymore. So it's like, the development cycle of these games is 5 to 7 years. Ghost of Tsushima came out in 2020. Sucker Punch has been MIA for 5 to 7 years, or by the time Ghost of Tsushima 2 is going to come out, or whatever they decide to call it. Are people really going to be jumping in droves to pick up a console to play 1 or 2 games a year, 2 games max that you're putting out a year? I don't know. And again, with titles like SB and Rise of the Ronin, those games are 100% coming to PC in the relatively near future, and every game is seemingly just a timed exclusive at this point. I think that the exclusives play a very, very little factor at this point on getting people to buy a console and be long-term console customers. Again, buying a console is one thing, being a long-term console customer is what they want. When they sell you that box, the idea is they're gonna make a crap load of money off you in the long run, and I just don't think that's gonna happen. I think the people that want to play on console are going to play on console and be long-term console guys. The people that play on PC might buy a PlayStation 5. A few of them might buy a PlayStation 5. Are they going to be converted into long-term customers? I just don't think that's the case, and I think the games would do much better as a day one PC release, and you wouldn't affect the console sales that much, because I really think that crossover is overstated. Even my buddies that picked up a PlayStation 5, I see it firsthand. They are going to be long-term PC gamers. They are not going back full-time, so to speak, to console gaming. That's just the lay of the land for them now, and I think the same can be said for consoles. If you are super into that console ecosystem, the console style, playing your games on your TV, paying $50 a year to play online, if you're super into that, you're gonna probably stick to that, and I don't think exclusives are that big of a factor when it comes to PC versus console. When it comes to console versus console, certainly exclusives make a big difference, but when it comes to console versus PC, I don't think that's a big factor, and I think even doing timed exclusives, like, at this point, I think a lot of PC guys, like, get how the game is played. We can wait 2 years. Y'all can wait 3 years to play some of these games, because guess what? Steam's dropping like 85,000 games a month, and yes, some of them might be ass, but a lot of them are real good, and you don't have a shortage of games to play. If Microsoft gets their head out of their ass and at some point drops quality games, and Hellblade 2 I thought was pretty decent, that was a decent outing, hopefully Avowed is good, hopefully Indiana Jones is decent, you're gonna have a stream of games from them to play as well. You know, Xbox as a console is totally washed, but PC I think is so healthy at this point that converting people from PC to consoles, I just think is going to be an arduous task, and I would advocate for the games just coming out day one, but I get why they're doing they want the console gravy train to continue, because even if they sell these games on PC, first of all, they're making good revenue off just selling these games, but if they could get 1 out of 10 people that play a God of War 2018 to then jump on over and be long-term PS5 consumers, that's a huge W for them, given how much money they'll make on the back end off of those customers. But I just don't think that conversion rate is gonna be that strong. That's my personal opinion. Do I have facts and stats to back it up outside of anecdotal evidence? No, I don't. So maybe Hulst has a lot more evidence, maybe Hulst has a lot more going for him, but I look at a game like Stellar Blade, popped off a lot on PlayStation 5, did really well. Think that game would have done orders of magnitude better if it was on PC, and I'll die on that hill, and I'll say it over and over again, and hopefully when that game does drop on PC, because it's a new IP, it'll do really well on there. And I hope some of these publishers are gonna look at Sony when they talk about timed exclusivity. I don't know how much money they're throwing at them, but hopefully for a Square Enix, seeing Final Fantasy 16 and 7 Rebirth didn't reach their commercial expectations. Hopefully they look at that and be like, yo, the timed exclusivity isn't enough, because that PC audience, they're raring to go. They're raring to buy games like an FF16, like an FF7 Rebirth on launch. Sure, you can delay release them, but you're cutting into your sales. Sony better be compensating you pretty damn well if it's worth cutting into those sales. And not only should they be compensating you in terms of loss of sales, they should be compensating you because they're making your IP less popular. That is end all be all. That is a fact. Final Fantasy, because it's not on PC day one, it is less popular. That's just it. Now, obviously, Square Enix can release the next Final Fantasy on PC day one, and it would be more popular, but I think at this point, the PC audience is a significant audience. It ain't about that game going on Xbox. Nobody cares about Xbox as a platform anymore. At least most people don't. But on PC, there's a lot of people, and if you're doing these timed exclusivity deals, you're hindering the IP as well. I'm hoping, Shift Up got a healthy check from Sony. Maybe Sony funded the creation of that game. That game wouldn't even exist without Sony. I don't know the nuances to it. What I do know is Final Fantasy 16 would exist without Sony. What I do know is Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth would exist without Sony. So those exclusivity deals, I don't know the exact amount, but Sony better be paying you $100 to $150 million for timed exclusivity on those games, because if they're not, they're getting a crappy deal. And I don't know what Epic Games Store paid for Kingdom Hearts, but you see the reception for Kingdom Hearts coming to Steam now, and it just goes to show that these games need to be on PC, they need to be on Steam, and that's just what I think. Sony, from a first-party standpoint, do whatever the hell you want. You guys own those games. But I personally think this conversion idea isn't going to be that effective. But that's my 2 cents. Let me know your thoughts on it down below in the comments section. I think most of you guys watching this video, you're going to be like, bro, I don't care. I'll just wait to play these games like Ghost of Tsushima. Y'all waited. Y'all having a good time with it. Did you guys have a scarcity of games to play over the last 4 years? I don't think so. I don't think you guys had a scarcity of games. Are you going to lose sleep over not playing Last of Us Part 3 on day one after they butchered the story with Last of Us Part 2? Yeah, I don't think you guys are gonna lose sleep over that. I think you guys got games like Hades 2. I think you guys got games like Helldivers 2. I think you got games like Avowed coming out, Hellblade 2, so on and so forth. The other PlayStation games that will be coming, and I'm not even mentioning like PC-centric games, like, your survival games and whatnot. There's a lot to play. That's what I'm getting at. But that'll do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section down below. I know I went kind of long, but definitely want to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.